Let's do it. Let's do it. The Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, obviously a lot to love. They have the best player in football, Patty Mahomes, about to fall short a couple hundred. You know, he's not the highest paid quarterback. A couple quarterbacks have passed him, and you haven't heard him say anything. So you gotta love that if you're a Kansas City fan. The money's gonna be spread around a little bit. Travis Kelsey's still the best tight end in football. He's a little bit underpaid. He made a little grumbling about it, but I'm more concerned about him punching people in practice. Like, come on, you punching helmets, bro. You're gonna break your hand. We need you to catch the actual ball. Um, they have a young secondary full of rookies that started last year and they produced. They won a Super Bowl. They're only going to be better this year. But there are questions with every team. And this team has a pretty big question. I think the biggest question has to be the bookends. What's going on with the tackles on offense and what's going on with the D ends on defense? Now, there are other questions. Chris Jones has not been paid yet. He's holding out. He's posting cryptic tweets on Twitter. But I think that situation gets taken care of. Like I said earlier, Patrick Mahomes is not the highest paid quarterback. There's money to spread around. They're definitely going to take care of him. The receiver position, they lost Juju from last year, who was the number one receiver on the team. They drafted a second round Rashee Rice receiver. We'll see what he does, but I'm more interested in Justin Ross, a guy who I think would have been a top 10 pick out of Clemson, who spent a lot of the offseason with Patrick Mahomes at his palatial mansion in Kansas City that they showed on quarterback and was getting it in, man. He was, working out and he's running with the ones in training camp now. Another question might be Kadarius Toney. They're expecting big things from him. He's injured, but water's wet. What's new? But again, the biggest question has to be the bookends. Let's start with the offensive side, the tackle position. So they let go of Orlando Brown, let go of Andrew Wiley, brought in Jawan Taylor at the right side, brought in Donovan Smith at the left side. So when it comes to Jawan Taylor, I think he's going to be rock solid at the right side. But they talked about him possibly playing left when he comes in. That's going to be a new position. He hasn't really played in the NFL. If that's the case, what happens? Donovan Smith, the guy that I mentioned at the left tackle, he's been struggling with injuries the past couple of years. So does he have juice? Has injuries sapped him? He was a very serviceable starter when he was at Tampa Bay. Can he bring that play and find that form again with Kansas City? And then they have Niang, who started 9 games in 2021 at right tackle, started 1 game 2022 at left tackle. Then he tore his patella tendon. I have tore both my patella tendons, unfortunately, so I know how nasty and serious an injury that is. So can he play? I think people are hoping that if one of these guys falters, he can come in and be a swing tackle. And then they have a very interesting guy, Wanye Morris, not Wanye Morris of Boys to Men, but Wanye Morris from Oklahoma, the third round pick. Now, they've had success drafting linemen the past few years. They drafted Creed Humphrey in the second round. He's been an all pro. They've drafted Trey Smith in the sixth round, and he's been a Pro Bowler, all pro level player as well. So, can they find that same form again with Wanye Morris? Wanye Morris was actually a 5-star, went to Tennessee, struggled there, went to Oklahoma. So, can they turn it around there? That's going to be interesting. On the defensive side, they drafted 2 late-round picks, George Kaloftis last year, and this year, Felix Ozoma. So George Kaloftis was actually second in the team in sacks last year. So the hope is maybe he gets better, but they lost Frank Clark, a guy who didn't really produce that much in the regular season, but is one of the all-time leader of sacks in the postseason and brought that same effort last year. So can they replace his play? The rookie, we don't know what he's going to do. He's a rookie, but we'll see. He's a guy that's a speed rusher. They also brought in Amenahu from the 49ers, who played with the Texans previously, who's pretty much a jack of all trades. He's a joker. He can line up anywhere. He can play inside. He can rush from the outside. So is this trio good enough to provide rush next to Chris Jones if they get a situation taken care of to rush the passer? We all know in football, the way that you win on offense is you protect the quarterback, and on defense, you rush the passer. And those are the two biggest question marks coming into the season. So there's some serious questions for the defending champs. Can we get production from these two areas? Okay, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. And as always, the game is the game.